Yes.
But does this need understanding develop into a, well, sort of a, not necessarily a give and take, but where one person would give in to the other person's
No,
need?
no compromising in giraffe. Not necessary to compromise. Everybody's needs can get met. Nobody has to give in. Nobody has to give anything up.
Because I agree with you, I have to say, and especially when it comes to doing things for other people, because if you, my theory is that if I do something for someone else, that gives a person power over me.
Well,
Whereas if
I
do
would
it
put
for
it this way.
myself,
If you do anything that involves giving in, both people pay for it. Nothing has been resolved. It's going to create problems.
So is there a needs dialogue or needs literacy you mentioned that
I have
understanding what they are?
Need literacy in my book. And if you want to develop your need literacy, I suggest you do the following activity. First, identify your most frequently used jackals, the ones you use the most, and next, the ones you're the most afraid of. Do it this way. First, on a list, make a list of how you talk to yourself when you're less than perfect. And those of you over here who said you were perfect, you'll have to skip this part of it. But for those of you who aren't perfect, make a list of how are you most likely to speak to yourself when you're less than perfect. So that's jackal list number one. Next, make a second list. What are the jackal messages that go on in you when you are angry at others? So when you're judging others and are angry, what are you most likely to be saying to yourself or out loud about the other person? So that's jackal list number two. Jackal list number three. List those things that when other people say it, at the moment, you respond to defensively or aggressively. And put on that list things that you have been so afraid that people might think it of you, that you've become a nice dead person to avoid it. So in other words, put into that list not only what people have said that got you defensive, but things you're scared of they might say. Okay, now do this exercise to build your need literacy. Go back over that first list where what you say to yourself when you're less than perfect. Now, for each judgment, think of what might have been the stimulus for it. See, you've got to relate each of these to a specific context. So, say to yourself, let's say the first thing is you have in your list number one, what a dumb thing to do. Okay. Think of what you might have done to stimulate that. Okay. Then put on giraffe ears and hear the need behind stupid. See, I'm saying that all judgments are tragic expressions of unmet needs. So ask yourself, when I say that to myself in that situation, how stupid, what need am I expressing through that judgment? What need of mine isn't getting met? And here's where you can use the list in my book. If you can't come up with it yourself, just look through the list and your body will tell you when you're getting close. Really, because, oh yeah, that's what my need is. See, the need comes much closer to the truth than any judgment you make of yourself. So do that for every item on the list. Second, what you tell yourself when you're angry at others. Again, identify concretely what the other person might have done to stimulate this. Then ask yourself this question. When I judge people as idiots for doing that, what need of mine was not being met in that situation? Again, try to guess it without my list, but if you can't find it, look through my list to find one that comes closest. The third list, what others say to you to get you defensive. Practice putting on the giraffe ears. Imagine what you did to stimulate it. And in that situation, guess what the other person's needs were that weren't getting met. So you see, it's just learning a new language. Learning for every time there are these jackal judgments to, as quickly as possible, to bring yourself back to life. Or more specifically, connect to needs. Needs are life. Yes?